All right, everybody, welcome to Columbia College Hollywood's industry event. My name is Brad Statlin. I am the Senior Director of Community Relations here at Columbia College Hollywood and Flashpoint Chicago. Thank you so much for being here. We are so excited. Before I introduce your host for the evening, again, I just want to say thank you. I know the world is a crazy place right now. You are all here because you are passionate about digital media, whether it's film, whether it's acting, animation, graphic design, recording arts. You love that stuff. And so do we at Columbia College Hollywood. We are a special institution. We do things extremely differently at our college. And I know in our audience, we have some current students, we have some students who applied, and we have some students who are just thinking about, maybe, is this a good place for me? Well, everything that we do at our college is industry driven. Whether it's how we write our curriculum, whether it's how we teach you in class, whether it's how we work with you to get a job in the industry. And that is exactly what we're doing today, is bringing the industry to you. So I am extremely excited to kick this event off. I want to introduce your host for the evening. He is our Director of Admissions at our Los Angeles campus, Mr. Lee Hughes. Lee, take it away, sir.
Thank you for that introduction, Brad.
Of course,
I super
sir.
appreciate that. It's super fun. Love that all of you guys are here. Super excited to be able to talk with our friend Brad and get to hear some of his knowledge and wisdom, and just everything that we're going to be talking about today should be a lot of fun for you guys. So we want to make sure this is interactive. We want this to be for you guys, okay? You're going to hear from Brad. He has probably one of the best hearts in Hollywood from everybody that I've ever talked to and met. He's just all about relationships, all about, really doing and serving the best that you can for other people. And you find success that way in a lot of different ways. He's found his way from Pittsburgh to North Carolina, a couple of different places in between, and out here to LA, from the sports scenes to probably the largest movie of all time, Marvel's Endgame, and Spider-Man Far From Home. I've got actually both teams here too.
Hey, love
ready
it. Love it.
Ready to go. But Brad, welcome. We're super excited to have you here.
Great to be here.
Yeah. Oh, we just switched to, now we can see everybody all at once. This is amazing. Brad, could you tell us a little bit about your background and coming from Pittsburgh, getting into the sports scene, and then making that trip to North Carolina and getting started with that first school?
Sure. First off, I got to say, it's great to be here. I appreciate all of you coming here and doing this. You don't have to be here. And that's the thing. You guys may be passionate about movies or acting, like we mentioned earlier, but the big thing is you're passionate about getting better. So you taking the time to do this, even sitting here listening, not even watching, whatever it is, you decided to be here and take the time to do this, which will set you apart from other people who have chose to not to do this, right? So that's the big thing, is you've decided on your own to do this instead of playing Fortnite, right? So props to you guys, because these are the decisions that will frame your future. And I know that sounds dramatic, but I mean, that's what it takes. Like, what am I doing more than the competition? It's stuff like this. So if you can find a habit of doing stuff like this and doing more than everybody else, you will find that success and happiness that you're looking for.
I love that. And so Brad actually had an awesome start interviewing and working with members of like the sports community in that. Could you share a little bit about that introduction to the sports world?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I'm a diehard Steelers fan, Penguins fan. I was just telling Lee, I was just watching the Penguins are playing right now before I hopped on. So hopefully they're winning when I get off. Yeah, I'm a passion-driven guy. It's pretty simple. I love sports and I love entertainment. So to start my career, I got into the sports scene. I wanted to be around the guys that I cheered on Sundays and Mondays and Thursdays, and really try to add whatever value I could to those guys. So that was me bringing value from a marketing standpoint, from a social media standpoint, from a graphics standpoint, whatever value, big or small, it was my job to add to these guys' life. So once again, if you can do that in your life right now, provide value often and consistently, you are going to put yourself in a great situation to be successful. So early on, I was in high school and I was working with some of the top athletes on the Pittsburgh Steelers from a marketing, business, social media standpoint. And I've been around that organization since like 2005, 2006, just working with the players. And each and every year, I kind of re up and reload with the new guys that come in, the new guys that get drafted or signed by free agency. And that's how I started my career, working one on one with the athletes, helping them to build their brands and their platforms for success, not only right now, but for the future as well. And it was me just trying to be passionate about my team, my athletes, and trying to better their lives. And I know that sounds ridiculous when these guys make the money that they do and do what they do, but it's hard to find genuine people when you are a person who has a platform like that. So I was always a guy that they could rely on. I was always a guy that they could pick up the phone and call with a task, a challenge, whatever it may be, and get it done. And that is what I've been able to do to kind of set myself apart than everybody else is whatever the task it is, whatever it takes, you get it done. So I started out working with professional athletes. I started working with some sports agencies. I worked with a marketing agency all through college, which I serviced Fortune 500 companies in New York. And that was great experience for me at a young age, sitting in these boardrooms that frankly I had no business being in. But I was there like a sponge to soak
Mhm.
up every ounce of knowledge, experience, good and bad, coming out of these meetings. So by the time I was 20, 18, 19, 20, I was very chill in the boardroom. I'm at home in the boardroom. I was not intimidated or scared or nervous. I was able to get up in front and sit down with big studios and big
Mhm.
celebrities and not have to worry about stuff like that, right? So challenging yourself in that regard is a very good thing. You know, you may not think you're good enough or smart enough, or I don't have enough to add to this to be a part of it. No, you cannot have that mindset.
Yeah.
You have to be the person you want to be now, right? So I carry myself as someone that I foresee me being 10 years from now. And that's why I'm able to do what I do, because it's not faking it till you make it. It's this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be. And that allows me to be in conversations with people and do the collaborations that I've done. But
Mhm.
it's a confidence standpoint.
Yeah.
Ego has nothing to do with it. It's my confidence in who I am and what I'm able to offer.
I
And
love
that,
to
go ahead.
Yeah, I love that you're seeing yourself in 5, 10 years where you want to be, and just kind of projecting that forward, because so many times, like, we once we get that vision of that future and we start moving towards it, it actually runs towards us too. So you
Yeah.
always, like, usually collide, and
Manifestation is very real. And
yeah.
that I cannot stress that enough, because everything that I've done in my young career is all about what I've wanted to do. You know, this guy behind me, Robert Downey Jr., big fan. Big fan of that guy growing up. Was my favorite actor. I'm a huge Marvel guy. I love Iron Man, and I manifested that. Like, the opportunity came to me. Like, it literally, you put the work in, you're good to other people, you add value, and good things happen.
Mhm.
And literally moved out to LA to work with Robert Downey Jr. Then it was, okay, what next? Okay,
Mhm.
working with a major studio. I got to work with Warner Brothers. And that was a studio I loved growing up. I was a big fan of their films and the TV shows that they produced. And that was a dream come true. And I got to work on IPs like DC and Harry Potter and things like that, and help produce those marketing campaigns. So the content that you saw on social media, I actually was a big part of producing that content with vendors and running the budgets and the numbers to get those campaigns done. So I was a part of 3 CLIO award-winning campaigns for the Lego Batman movie, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and Kong Skull Island. So that was my second year working with WB. I actually was a part of 3 CLIO award-winning campaigns, which was a blessing.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, okay, now that I've experienced this with WB, my dream is I have to be a part of a Marvel campaign. Like, I have to get a job at Marvel. I have to get a job at Disney. And that was my goal. Like, I have to do this. And I interviewed, I can't tell you, probably 3 times for 3 separate jobs, right?
Awesome.
And I came runner up every single time. Now, this is important because
Yeah.
in most cases, this is failure. You failed. You lost. You didn't win. If you're not first, you're last, right? Ricky Bobby told us that, right? And that's the important thing, right? Because at the end of the day, I didn't get it, but I could have just given up on my dream and said, you know what? It's never going to happen. It's just not meant to be. But instead of giving up, I pivoted and I said, okay, what's another angle or route that I could go to add value to Disney and Marvel to make this dream a reality? So that's what I did. And I signed one of the biggest artists on social media, Boss Logic, and I got him a deal with Disney and Marvel to do the artwork, which you see behind me, for Avengers Endgame. And we were a part of that campaign. I then went on to work on Spider-Man Far From Home with him, and we worked on probably 10 to 15 major titles last year. And that was a dream come true. And it was all about, I could have given up on my dream working for Marvel and Disney, right? And it was funny, the guy, a bunch of the people who worked at Disney and Marvel that I was applying and interviewing with, I ended up collaborating with on that Endgame campaign. So it was full circle, right?
Yeah.
But it was just a different angle, a different route to take. And that's where you can't get down on yourself, where if you have a goal and you're going at it this way and it doesn't happen, you can't throw your arms up in the air and give up. You just can't. You can't, because it's easy to get down and be like, woe is me, it didn't happen. There are
One
so many other ways to make things happen, guys.
Yeah, and one thing I think that I'd like to like step back a little bit too, because I know when you were in high school and you're making that transition to college, you had started at University of North Carolina, and you're like, I think it was your first major was engineering. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I applied to one college because I'm an idiot, and that college was NC State University for engineering, which is one of the hardest schools to get into. And I actually got in and I went to my first class, my first engineering class, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do at the time coming out of high school. I was doing so many things on the side, but as far as like a career, I wasn't sure. So I was like, most of my family are engineers, so I'm going to go be an engineer. And I walked in my first class. 15 minutes later, I walked out and I was like, nope, not for me. This is not it. And at the end of the day, we got one life to live. Okay. And this, you may laugh and giggle, this is silly, quit being dramatic, but you don't want to look back when you're 50 years old and be like, wow, I really settled and I didn't go after what I wanted. And I regret it. And I don't want that for you guys. So I immediately looked at that and said, this is not for me. This is not what makes me happy. And once again, that's what drives me. What makes me happy, right? So working with athletes, working in the sports space, working with Marvel and huge talent, like that's what lights me up. That's a passion of mine. I want to add value and be a positive source for brands, athletes, studios, whatever it is. I want to impact the lives around me. I want to elevate the people around me. Okay. So that's what I did. So for you guys, whatever it is you want to do, if that first door shuts in your face, it doesn't mean it's over. And you have to acknowledge that, because I promise you, you will have doors slammed in your face. And that's just life. Like nothing worth having comes easy. And you have to be able to get hit, shake it off, and keep going. Like I had a huge meeting today that I've been prepping for weeks. And I get to the meeting and it got pushed to next week. Now I could sit here and cry about it and be upset, but I literally bounced off and kept going. All right, how can I use this extra time that was given to me to make the meeting that much more successful,
Yeah.
right? And that's how I looked at it. So when someone says no, or you didn't get it, once again, you could take that as, okay, my life's over, or all right, this route wasn't it. How can I pivot and go a different route?
That's awesome. That's awesome. And one thing, just because I know a lot of you guys, as I've been talking to some of you actually, are facing that challenge where you're thinking like, well, this is what my family did, so this is, maybe I should go this route, and kind of ignoring some of your passions or, what makes you come to life. And I love, Brad, just your encouragement and the motivation that you have for people to go after their passions. You know, see yourself in the future, run towards it, and don't let anything get in your way. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, there's so many little tidbits and tools that are out there. But with your experience so far, if you had like maybe 2-3 tips for the students here that are paying attention, like what would be some things that help kind of start that envisionment of their future?
Start.
Good.
That is the simplest advice I can give you. You can sit and question and think about it all day long until you're blue in the face. But if you don't actively take steps towards your goal, it's never going to happen. And I'm not saying leaps and bounds right out of the gate, but it's little wins each and every day that lead to big results. And that's how you have to look at it. You know, I set outrageous goals for myself. Outrageous. Like the Downey thing was just I was in North Carolina, like a guy from Pittsburgh. I had no Hollywood connections. I had no family in the industry. It was just like, yeah, like this is what I want. This is what I'm hoping to do, you know? And the
This is
chips
perfect.
fell and it was all, once again, it was all about building genuine relationships with the people around me, adding value to the people around me, and then good things happen. But
Mm-hmm.
you are in a time where you have YouTube, you have masterclass, you have things called books. Like you can do all these things to elevate yourself in the meantime, right? We're all stuck in our houses. How are you allocating your time? Are you playing FIFA for 37 hours a day? Or are you divvying up time to read a book or take a master class or do tutorials? I mean, there's so many different ways that you can grow in whatever field you want to do. But at the same time, reach out to people. How can I help you? What can I help you with right now? I don't even have to get paid for it. How can I add value to you and in return get the experience I need to move forward with my career and my life?
That's perfect. And we're getting starting to get some different questions here. But guys, I would love for you. We really wanted this to be interactive. We want you
Yes.
guys to be able to ask the questions that you want to ask, so we can provide the best value possible for you, each of you.
Yeah.
Stephen, I'm going to call you out actually because you had your hand raised first. And I don't know if you're getting ready to go to work. You got the uniform on. You're looking Stephen Johnson. I think that was you.
Yeah, to all of our guests, just type your questions for Brad in the chat box. Lee, do you mind if I kick it off with a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Brad, so often students in the film industry, there's a lot of intimidating situations whether you're meeting with an actor, somebody high at a corporation. How do you
Sure.
deal with intimidation? Could you talk about when you first met Robert Downey Jr., nervousness? How do you hone that into still being productive?
I think you have to, like, I've been around celebrities and professional athletes and things like that since I was very young because of the work that I was doing. So it really never affected me in that way because I looked at it as like, if I meet Robert Downey Jr., if I'm fangirling and acting crazy, I'm never going to be able to build a professional or real relationship with him, right? So that's how you have to look at it. When you're meeting these high level people, these celebrities, the talent, whatever it is, you have to treat them as a normal human being because at the end of the day, that's what they are. They're just like you and I, but they have a high profile, bigger brand, more transparent life than we do, right? So that's how you have to take it, and it's that fearlessness that you have to carry each and every day with whatever it is you do. It's the fearlessness to say, if I fail, so be it, but I'm going to try anyway, right? It's swinging for the fence every single time and not settling in between. And you may fail, you may strike out, you may hit singles, whatever, but when you keep hitting those home runs, it feels really, really good. And that's where you build confidence. So if you don't
Mhm.
challenge yourself and swing for the fence, you're never going to know what you're truly capable of. And you're also not going to build that confidence in yourself that say, you know what, I can do this.
That's awesome.
That's
And
awesome.
Alyssa, remember she's our first one who came in with a cool plushie in the background. She's asking, what's the best part of your job and what's the most challenging part of your job?
The best part of my job is really doing what I love. You know, I've come to the realization over the last year or two that my life is built around service of others. And as a producer, I'm serving my team. I'm serving the directors. I'm serving the talent. I'm serving the investors. Like whoever it is, I'm there to serve and make things happen. Hey, Brad, do this. Hey, Brad, get this done. Do it, do it, do it. Right. As a talent manager, I'm serving my clients. It's my job to make sure they're successful, they're happy. And I love seeing other people happy. That is a big part of who I am. That's how I was raised. I think a lot of my inner happiness is due to the happiness that I personally create myself. So if there are anybody in here who's feeling down and not necessarily happy with their life, outreach a hand and try to make somebody else happy and watch how that changes your life. I promise you, it changes everything. Kindness is contagious. And
Yeah.
if we're all there for one another, life becomes so much better. I promise you. And then as a speaker, like I am today, I'm serving you guys. What can I say or do to help make your life better? How, if I can say one thing that makes you realize who you are or what you want to do, or it turns on a light that you're like, oh my gosh, then I've done my job. Right. So like that's what my life is. It's a life of service. So that's the fulfilling element to me about
Mhm.
what I do. The challenging aspect is I'm never satisfied with anything that I do. I don't want to get complacent ever. I never want to kick back and be like, "Oh, my life's great," you know, and just lose all the progress and momentum that I've made. Especially in this industry. Like you can be hot for 5 seconds and then disappear forever. So you really have to stay on your craft, continue to build your brand, your foundation, your relationships, because you can be hot real quick and then be gone just as quick.
Yeah, yeah. What I love too in that the service, like for all of you guys that are watching, if you think about a time where somebody needed help, like in a moment, and maybe you're having like the worst day, you're like in your head every other word you could think of, you know, bad ones. But then like this person needs help, and you run over and you're just like, I don't know, helping an old lady like pick up her groceries, or you're doing whatever. All that anger, all that frustration, everything just vanishes. And I think that's a little bit of what you're talking about, Brad, where it's just as you serve others, if you pour out, you know, what you have, and you share it, there's so many rewards that come just for yourself, but then also those other people are getting served, and everybody, you know, you're raising the level, the bar for everybody around you. You know,
And
it's
that's
not
the thing
just,
too, you know, when you do something nice for somebody else, you're not doing it to get something in return. Look at me when
yeah.
I say this. You're not doing it to get something in return. At the end of the day, you're doing it to bring happiness and value to somebody else. And I will tell you what you get back in return every single time is happiness, guaranteed.
Hmm.
But also, you're building a far superior reputation for yourself. Your reputation, when you give without expectation, goes through the roof, right? Because they're like, wow, Alyssa just did this for me and she didn't even ask for anything. What a great person she is, right? And
Yeah.
then you start getting that reputation and then word of mouth of how amazing Alyssa and Olivia and Sylvia and all the us, everybody's doing great stuff, you know. But that's what's awesome about giving, is it's your reputation, right? Which
Yeah.
takes years to build and seconds to ruin. Okay. So you have to be
Hmm.
very smart and careful about what you're saying on social media and what you're doing on social media. Okay. And that's the other thing too. When you're giving, you build your reputation and you're building relationships. And without relationships, you're not going to go anywhere.
Hmm.
Your peers in this room, I know you want to get connected to Kevin Feige at Marvel, but this room is full of the future. Listen to when I say this. This
Hmm.
room is full of the future. You are the next generation of this business, of this industry. So make sure you take care of every single person in this room, because I promise you, you will cross paths one day. And if you don't have good relationships with that person, or you were disrespectful and rude to that person, they might be the one that has the chance to give you a job down the line. And if you treated them like crap, you're going to regret it.
Hmm.
Great advice.
Uh, Kalinda has an awesome question about from an actor standpoint when they're working with a talent manager,
Yeah.
or maybe that just that, you know, that management relationship in general. Like, what are some things somebody could do to make that person's job easier? Like, when you're working with talent, like what is the thing that the talent does that makes your life like so much better?
Um, I really want to work with people who have the same values and core as me. So very professional, very kind, big heart, empathetic. I don't deal with egos. I'm not into it. I don't care how big or famous you are. I have zero time for it. And people in this industry don't want to deal with it either. Okay. So if there's anyone in here with a big ego, pop it right now, because someone will bring you down to planet Earth real quick. I promise you.
You met
Um,
Lee?
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you
know.
know, Lee.
My head gets big. Sorry, it happens.
Uh, but but I think it's having a very strong line of communication. Okay. And that's so important. If you don't have communication between the talent and the manager, or a producer and a director, and there's not an understanding of who, what, where, when, why, and what the heck is happening, then the project or whatever it is going to fall in its face. So communication's one, trust is another, and just handling yourself in a professional and a good human standpoint, I think, is really important.
It's
Great
good.
question.
Olivia too. Remember, she's our number 2 person, I think, in the meeting room, and she's smiling right now
Let's go,
with a peace
Olivia.
sign. Yeah, she's wondering, what's a random interest or experience that you had that really played a role in your life or your career in the future?
A random experience. Okay. I'm always trying to connect with people. I'll reach out. Hey, let's grab coffee. Hey, let's jump on a call. Hey, let's do a Zoom, because I want to understand what it is you're doing and where I could potentially add value. Okay. So this one day I reached out to a director, um, and we met for lunch, and I just wanted to build a relationship with him. I didn't want anything, you know, and we sat down and we just small talk, and he goes, "So what can I help you with?" And I was so like sideswiped. I froze, because I told him, I'm like, whoa, 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 like, this is not why I asked for this. He literally hit it right out of the gates. He's like, I'm 65 years old. I don't play games, you know, like, but that's the industry. Everybody wants something. So
Hmm.
when you come at it from a different angle, like I try to do on a regular basis, what can I do for you? How can I make your life easier? What value can I add? I had a call today with a producer. Any value I can add to you and your projects to make your life better and more successful, call me.
That's awesome.
Not, hey, give me a job, or hey,
Hmm.
give me an opportunity. Hey, hire me. It's not going to get you anywhere. You have to look at the opportunity and be like, here's where I can add value, or what are you doing? Okay, I understand. This is where I can see I can help you. Right.
Yep.
So that is the thing I want to wire in your brains, because this is not DMing everybody on Instagram or LinkedIn, hey, hire me. That's not gonna, you're gonna get yourself blacklisted real quick, because imagine how many people do that. Okay. Imagine how many people do that. I get DMs every single day. Hey, read my script. Hey, do this. Hey, do that. And I'm just like, can I get a hello? Hi, how are you? Like, you have to have a foundation for the relationship before you ask anything. And that comes from building these genuine relationships. And if you're building a relationship to get something in return, then it's not a genuine relationship.
Hmm. We have a couple of good questions. I actually want to combine these two students. There's Colby King and Paula asked, first off, she says, what an inspiration. Her question is,
Thank
when
you.
did you realize like this is what you wanted to do? And then with Colby's question, it kind of ties in a little bit. Once you realize that, like, what did you do to get started?
Once again, it's been, I guess I've been kind of crazy in my fearless approach, where I don't care. Like, I'm not going to not do something because I'm afraid of what's going to happen. Right. Like, within reason, I'm not going to jump off a building and try to fly, obviously. But when it comes to an opportunity, it's like, could I add value to this professional athlete's life? I could sit there and think till I'm blue in the face, but I was like, yeah, like, he's not on social media, or he's doing it wrong. And I know social media because I'm on it 15 hours a day. Let me help him build his platform. Right. But it's that understanding that, like, I'm just going to wing it, you know? but don't wing it in a sense that I don't have a plan, but wing it in a sense of like, I'm not going to get in my own head about it. I'm just going to do it. Right. And be fearless in that approach, be professional, have an idea of what it is you want to do and what it is you want to say, but don't literally like, oh my gosh, sit here for 6 hours before you send that email. Like just send it and dive in. And your goal is, I want to add value. How can I help you? That is it. And with that, a lot of doors open up because people aren't used to that. I've had people when I first came out here and I was that blue collar Pittsburgh, like, how can I help you? How can I make your life better? People are like, are you an alien? Like, you're not from here, are you? And I'm like, no, I'm not. And I'm not changing either,
Yeah.
and that's the kind of mentality that you have to have. And I promise you, when you go at it like that, you will stick out for the best of ways.
Hmm. We have a few different questions too, just about connections and building those networks, I think is what these questions are kind of getting towards. But are there different strategies that you have as you build up your network? Is it connections that you just, like people that you just run into? And then are there maybe like different side jobs or side hustles that would get you in touch with those types of
Sure.
people?
So first off, I want to clarify something. This is how I speak on this. I hate the word networking and I hate the word connections. One, because it sounds like you have ulterior motives, right? I'm going to network and I'm collecting people like Pokemon cards. That's not what we're doing, guys. Okay. What you need to wire in your brain is you're building relationships. Some relationships are stronger than others. Some are more intimate than others. Some are more passionate than others. It's a sliding scale. But at the end of the day, every person in your circle is a relationship. And if you take that approach, you don't get in the mindset of, oh, I got to network and I got to know everybody. That's not what we're doing. Because once again, especially at the higher levels of this industry, if you take that approach of collecting people like Pokemon cards, you're going to get blacklisted and people are going to identify who you are and what you are real quick because you just want that phone number or that email to get something down the line. And that goes back to building genuine relationships. And that means being patient and developing these relationships over time. That's not going in for the kill the first day or the first week or the first month. It's building a genuine relationship, which means you may know this person for 3 years and still not get that thing you wanted. And you're okay with that. Because if you're not okay with it, then guess what? You weren't genuine in your approach to begin with, right? So that's the genuine approach. And that's texting them, hey, happy birthday. Thank you, JV. I appreciate that. But it's those little things like that. It's also, hey, how's the family? Congrats on this victory. Good job on Sunday. Putting that time and effort into, wow, Brad really cares. Or you know what? Spencer's texting me every day for the last 6 months. Now that's a bit much, but you get my point. Consistency is important. Okay. And that's where it comes into play. And if you don't get a response, you're not texting him 15 times a day. You're not texting him the next day. Follow up a week or two later. Okay. And that is the approach, especially when I was young. I understood how to play the game. Okay. It is very much a game. And you have to be patient and you can't be annoying. And when I was working with these athletes, one in particular was Fast Willie Parker with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He won 2 Super Bowls. He's one of my oldest friends to this day, but I started out as this annoying white kid. And he was like, who the hell is this guy? Right? Who is this guy? What does he want? And he didn't understand. He couldn't comprehend that I didn't want anything. I just wanted to be there for him and his family. And over time, he saw what I did and how I handled myself. And years later, we're on a cruise together and he looks at me and he's like, I get it now. He's like, I'm retired. I'm trying to get an internship as a coach. And I have to be the one to reach out to these coaches in these organizations and build relationships with them to hopefully get an internship. I get it now. And that was a awesome lesson in understanding because this guy's, I think, 6 to 8 years older than me. And it took him that long to understand how to do it.
Mm-hmm. And it's just amazing, like the time element that you just mentioned, because sometimes we think something is so far, but it can come very quickly. And
Yeah.
other times it takes some people, like like we feel like we're too old or we're too this or we're too that to like try to move forward or try to learn something. You know, that old phrase, like you can't, can't teach an old dog new tricks or whatever, but nah, like be
There's
flexible, be
never a limit.
moldable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No time limit, guys. And that's a beautiful thing. And the other part of that question was basically like, how did you find this? Like, how did you get here? And it's an ever evolving thing where if you're not afraid to try new things and do new things, you quickly identify things that you're good at, right? I had never managed hundreds of thousands of dollars budgets before, but I was working at Warner Brothers and I had to. Right.
Yeah.
So I learned very quickly that I was good at negotiating and good at money. And I would save them literally in the first 5 months of 2017. I saved them over $300,000 negotiating these deals with vendors. And that was not touching the money that was left over in these budgets. That's where I found the skill. Like, you know what? I am good at negotiating. And you know what? I am good at money and I'm good at business and creative producer. Boom. And that's so when you're not afraid to try new things and do new things, you'll quickly understand, wow, I suck at this. I am so bad. But guess what? It's okay. Because now I know I'm bad at this. So I'm going to go collaborate with someone who is good at it. And that is
100%.
the mentality of collaborating and winning together. And that is how you will be successful. This industry is so competitive and it doesn't have to be. You know what I mean? India, Abby, you guys work together, win together. Like it's not a complicated thing. Like, don't look at everyone in this classroom as competition, reach out and say, how can I help you? Like, oh, you're lacking in this area. Well, guess what? I have what you need, but you also have what I need. Let's win together. And it's that mentality of like just collaborating and winning together, which will make you, okay, here's a really good point. Okay. There's a quote. It says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that couldn't be more true. So I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm bad at. And guess what? I go out and I collaborate with talented people who are good at what I'm bad at.
It's amazing.
And it doesn't make me upset, guys. It's okay to say, I suck at this. It's okay. Nobody's good at everything. But what you are good at, that's what you have to triple down on and say, I'm good at this. This is me. I'm sticking my flag in the ground and this is what I'm good at. Right.
So
and then
good.
After that, let what be.
That's awesome. My wife and I have that same kind of philosophy. It's funny. I suck at certain things. She's amazing at certain things, and
boom,
move forward together. Laren is wondering, what types of projects are you drawn to?
It goes on with the passion thing. I want to do things that have a purpose. I just don't want to do something or make something for the sake of doing something or making something. I want it to have a purpose that not only impacts me, but the people around me. The unscripted show that I'm working on right now came about basically the culmination of my life and what I've done from a philanthropic standpoint and trying to better the lives of others. And my hope is the TV show will inspire others to do the same and also bring tremendous happiness and entertainment to those who watch it. And that is my goal. So if I'm doing a film, I want to focus on the diversity element, the inclusivity element. I want to elevate everyone I possibly can with the project. And I want it to be entertaining and successful. This isn't just about me, right? So when I'm in a project, it's not like I need all the limelight, I need all the credits, I need all the money. Like, there are people out here who do that, and those are not people you want to associate with or try to be. I'm telling you right now, because once again, you may have a situation where you can go in on a project and get 15% of the revenue. But if you go in there and say, I need all of it, guess what? 15% is way more than zero. And that is how you have to look at it. But ego gets in the way. Once you let ego get in the way, kills your reputation, kills your relationships, and it kills any progress, both now and in the future.
Awesome. Sylvia is asking a pretty awesome question. She's like, was there ever a really rough time in your life, or personal life or work life, that caused you a lot of strain? Anything that made you like kind of reconsider your path is the first part, and then what made you stay on that path? did you do to kind of overcome those challenges and move forward?
Sylvia, every single day. Every single day. But what keeps you going is your passion. It's experiences like this where I'm sitting here with amazing people talking about life and career and work and stuff like that. Like, these are moments that keep me going. And that's, you have to find the little happiness in each and every experience and the little happiness in each and every day, because there's stuff there. You just have to be willing to see it. So once you see and you can look back and say, wow, 2020 for me specifically sucked. And I'm sure it sucked for all of you too. But from a business standpoint, man, entering 2020, I was on fire. I had all these collaborations, the momentum of Endgame and Far From Home. I was ready to tear it up with the studios and work on these massive marketing campaigns. And I had my producing stuff that I was doing and the speaking stuff. I just came out of Brazil, literally in 2019, December. I spoke in Sao Paulo, and then entering 2020 by March, done. So everything hit the fan, and I was not in a good place for the first few months of 2020. Straight up. I was depressed. I was angry. I was frustrated. And I was like, woe is me, blah, blah, blah. But I took a step back and I said, you know what? This is a lot of this I can't control. Right. So I really took a step back and analyzed my situation. And I said, you know what? I can't control a lot of stuff, but what I can control, I am going all in on. And that's what you guys have to do. Right now, there's a lot of stuff that you can't control. The job market is trash. School's difficult. You have a lot of free time on your hands. There's just a lot of stuff that you can't control. But what you can control, like I mentioned earlier, is taking the time to do this. I'm going to make an effort to better myself. So for me, that's what I did. I said, you know what? A lot of stuff I can't control. So I'm going to pivot and focus on what I can control. So that was me going all in on the development projects where I'm developing 5 to 8 different films at one time, my TV show, my personal brand, doing podcasts and interviews and features and stuff like that, speaking like right now, and just focusing on those things. And when you get to that place where your blinders are on and you're not letting anything impact you or affect you in a negative way, and you're not worried about stuff you can't control. Keyword is can't control, right? We can't control the pandemic. That's so far out of our pay grade. Like, it's not even funny, right? So we just have to focus on what we can control right now. And that's it's your decisions, your time allocation, your relationships, how you better yourself. So that's what I did. And right after I made that conscious decision to really focus on my stuff, I got a call from Gary Vaynerchuk. You guys might know him as Gary V. So Gary V called me up with D-Rock and Tyler, and they were like, yo, we're working on this thing called the All In Challenge. We're raising money to feed the hungry during COVID. And we know you're in the space. Anything you can help to make this happen, to get people on board, do it. I mean, Gary FaceTimed me. Like, I had this random ass phone number call me, and it was Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay. And I've worked with him before, but for him to call me with Tyler and D-Rock, I knew it was serious. Right. So that was the boost I needed to get back in my groove. Right. Because that's where we need to be, is we need to find that confidence. We need to be focused on something to really feel like we have a purpose. And for a lot of the first few months of 2020, I didn't feel like I had a purpose because everything that I was working on disappeared.
Yeah.
It was out of my hands. So I worked with Gary and D-Rock and Tyler, and I brought in Chris Hemsworth. I brought in the Russo brothers, Tom Holland. I brought in the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we created this awesome experiences for the All In Challenge. And we collectively helped raise almost like $70 million to feed the hungry. So that was a small little project that I did behind the scenes, connecting the dots and getting stuff done, right? Whatever it takes, get it done. But that was just, once again, Sylvia, like, there's going to be times where you feel hopeless, helpless, depressed, and guess what? That's okay. But the other thing, it's up to you to get out of it. And you just got to focus on what you're doing to better yourself. So if that's writing, you write your butt off. Okay. If that's watching films to get inspired, to see what genres you like and things like that, do that. If it's taking master classes to get it to be a better producer and actor, Go all in. Once again, you can't worry so much about the future right now because it's very uncertain. You have to win each and every day. And I mean
Love
that.
that.
At the end of every day, do you go to sleep saying, wow, I did enough. I did enough today. I had some good victories today. And it's not always about money, right? You guys have to focus on that too, right? You got to make money to survive. Yeah. But at the end of the day, money isn't happiness. And if that's your mindset, you're never going to be happy.
It's awesome. And what advice would you give to people trying to get into the industry? We've got a few people that have just moved to LA, one from Brazil that just moved here.
Nice.
What would you
Welcome.
say? Yeah, what would you say would be a good place just to get started? Like, where would you break ground?
Um, I think you need to, going back to what we said earlier, start. You need to start. You need to start reaching out to people. You need to start creating a brand for yourself. If you want to be a director, you have more than enough with your cell phone to start shooting stuff. Start shooting content on TikTok. You have YouTube where you can put shorts up. Get your friends together, write scripts, get stuff done. Like don't overthink stuff because there are people, I'm sure all of us can name about 25 people who are famous right now that you're just like, what? But guess what? They didn't waste time thinking about stuff. They just did it,
Mhm.
right? And that the analysis paralysis, as they call it, right? Stop analyzing and just do it. So start creating, start moving, start reaching out. It's like sales. You may knock on 200 doors to try to sell something, and you may get 198 no's. But those 2 yeses might change your whole life. That's why you got to keep on knocking and keep throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's just that whole mentality of just like getting moving, getting started. Um, with just life, like I've seen, and watching a bunch of students, like the students that really just put that initiative forward and just like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to try, and go out there and work and do their best or pick up that new skill set. There's so much more success that you find with that, just internally and externally.
And real quick on that note,
Yeah.
I was a senior in high school or a freshman in college, and I met a girl who had cerebral palsy. And I knew her from school. I saw her around school, but we weren't friends. But I met her at the movie theater one day, and she invited me to her birthday party. And I was like, this is kind of weird. I don't know this girl, but I thought it was really nice that she invited me. So I went. So I went to her birthday party. There was probably 5 people there. And I just walked in. I was like, man, like this girl has cerebral palsy. She's stuck in a wheelchair for her whole life. Her life's difficult, man. Like from a perspective play, we don't have it so bad. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're at her birthday and somebody gives her a gift bag with, do you guys remember David Archuleta from American Idol? Guy came like second or third place, whatever. But she was in love with this guy. Like the bag had his like cutout face on it and she like lost her mind. And once again, I just met her and I saw the happiness that this girl got just from a bag with his face on it. And I think there was like his CD or something in the bag. And I just had this idea. I was like, I'm going to help her meet David Archuleta. And mind you, I didn't know David. I had 0 relationships connected to David, but I knew that she loved David. And I knew I had the opportunity to potentially bring her that happiness to meet David Archuleta. So I proceeded to walk over to her mom, introduce myself. Hey, I'm Brad. Nice to meet you. How would you feel if I introduced Jamie to David Archuleta? And her mom was like, first off, who are you? Second, that would be amazing. Right. So I was like, give me some time, no promises, but I'm going to try. Keyword, try. Once again, David wasn't my bro. Okay. Like I didn't know the guy at all, but that was my goal. I set for myself, get in touch with David Archuleta. And about 2 months later, I surprised Jamie and got her backstage at Demi Lovato's concert in Greensboro, North Carolina, where she met David Archuleta. And it was priceless. And no one asked me to do it. No one paid me to do it. I put a lot of time and effort into figuring it out, but I didn't quit. I knocked on so many doors. I sent so many emails and I kept on trying and I made it happen. Shortly after that, Willie Parker, who I mentioned earlier, was leading the league in rushing in 2007. Second to last game of the season, he got tackled low, broke his lower leg and ankle, and he was done for the year. Lost the rushing title to LaDainian Tomlinson by 100 8 yards or so, right? So if he played the last 2 games, he wins the rushing title, which is a huge financial bonus for him and a huge accomplishment as a player, right? You play to win and you play to beat records. So when that was taken from him, he spiraled into a horrific depression. And I, at the time, was, I think, a senior in high school, freshman in college. And I'm like, what could I do for a guy that has everything? He has millions of dollars. He's famous. He's a celebrity. He has all the toys, whatever. What could I do? But knowing what I knew about Willie, like Jamie loved David Archuleta. Willie Parker loved Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, MJ, the GOAT. Do I look like a person that knows Michael Jordan? No. Didn't know Michael Jordan at all. I had no relationships with Michael Jordan. Never met the man in my whole life. No idea. But I knew that Willie meeting Michael Jordan would change his life because that was his idol his whole life. So I went to work. Same thing like Jamie. And I kept emailing, calling, texting, talking to the people in the industry that I knew. And a couple months later, I surprised Willie and his entire family, went up into Michael Jordan's suite at a then Charlotte Bobcats game. He watched an entire NBA game with his idol and also had meaningful, personal, athlete to athlete, person to person conversations with Michael Jordan. And fast forward to a few years later, Willie and I are on the field at Heinz Field at a Steeler game, stand on the sidelines during warm-ups and stuff. And he looks at me out of the blue and he says, "You helped me meet Michael Jordan. That was the best day of my life." No one asked me to do it. No one paid me to do it. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but guess what? I sure as hell made that happen, right?
Yeah.
And that's the mindset you guys have to have. Everybody I said, all my friends that I said I was going to help Willie meet Michael Jordan, they looked at me and said, "You are on drugs. You're crazy." And I was like, just wait, just watch. And these little victories in high school, in college, Robert Downey Jr. doesn't seem like a crazy idea, does it? Once again, so it's building that confidence in yourself and your abilities, where a Robert Downey Jr. idea doesn't seem so scary, or working with Marvel doesn't seem that scary or that unrealistic. People who say that's unrealistic, that's an unrealistic approach, that's an unrealistic goal, that's a beeline path to mediocrity and unhappiness. So, I mean, if you want to go the safe approach, by all means, but I promise you, you're not going to be happy, guys. And once again, we have one life to live. And if I'm going to be dramatic, it could end tomorrow. You don't know. So you got to make the most of the days that you have.
Awesome.
So don't settle in any aspect of your life. Relationships, friends, work, any of it.
It's amazing. On that note too, actually, with thinking about the past and where a lot of these students are right now, you know, they're kind of dreaming of like being able to have some different types of accomplishments and whatnot. Abby is asking, what's something you wish you knew when you were in college or in high school?
I wish I would have started sooner. Like I started at 16, 17 years old, like actually working and doing things with professional athletes and stuff like that. But like, you know, we can always look back and say, man, I wish I knew, you know, what I know now then. There's a song, country song or something. Whoever wants to sing it, sing it. But you know, it's more about just being fearless. And I've always taken that approach, and I've always been confident, not cocky. There's a big difference. You know, as far as, I don't want to say regrets go, but I personally wish I would have put more of a focus on my own brand than others at times, because if I would have put a focus on my Facebook or my Instagram back in the day, instead of putting all my time and effort into others, my platform could be a Logan Paul size right now. Not even kidding. But that's, you know, looking back at it, you know, I think understanding how things operate, whether it be from a brand standpoint, whether you like it or not, guys, everybody in this room has a brand. You're a brand. Jobs are going to look at your social media. They're going to look at Google. They're going to see what's said about you. So it's your job to make sure that what they see and hear are good things.
That's awesome. First of all, I got distracted here a little bit. Fanny, is that a heavy bag in the background there? She's ready to go to work, Brad.
I love it.
She's ready to like jam.
I love it.
But Yelenia also has a good question. She's asking, like, you talk a lot about the professionalism, kindness, coming at people with how can you serve them? How do you kind of balance not getting taken advantage of and providing that service for people?
You can't worry about it. Once again, taking advantage of is a mindset of I'm not getting enough back in return for this to make sense for me, right? That's what that means. So from a business standpoint, if you're getting experience, good experience, even if you're not getting monetary gains or material gains in return, that's still a good situation to be in. I've left so much money on the table, I can't even tell you, my whole life. But I wouldn't have changed anything because I have the relationships I do, the reputation I do, and the brand that I do because of those decisions. And that's working for free. That's doing projects pro bono. Like, it's focus on what you're getting. Excuse me. Focus on what you're getting at a high level, the experience, the relationships, and everything else is extra. It's gravy. If you can get paid from it, especially early right now, you're doing better than most. But once again, if your sole goal is I need to make all the money in the world right now, you're going to fail and you're going to be unhappy. You have to worry about building the foundation, which is with your classmates here around the world, social media, build your network, and growing in the experience. So when someone hits up Garrett, was like, yo, Garrett, I need your help with this project. Garrett's prepared because Garrett's done a bunch of little projects leading up to this, and he's not scared or afraid to try it. And that's the other thing too. You may get hit with someone may call you up like, hey, I need $3 million to help make a movie. Can you help me with this? What are you going to say? Are you honestly going to say, oh, I have no idea how to do this, but good luck. Sorry. No, that's not what you're going to say. You're going to say, yeah, give me a few days. I'm going to make some calls and I'll get back to you. And guess what? Someone did that to me. They called me and asked me to find them $3.5 million. And I said that, and I made some calls, and I'd never done this in my whole life. And that's where I got my first producing credit on a horror film, because I made calls and I found someone who found someone, and we made a movie. That's awesome. But I'd never done that before, right? Never raised millions of dollars before. But once again, it's not just about me. I couldn't have done it with the person who I called, and they called, and that's how it works. So we all made a movie together. Imagine how many people got jobs because I didn't say, oh no, never done this before. Come on, guys. Fearless. Take on the challenges. Figure it out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Brad, we are approaching the hour mark. I just want to know, are you good for like 5 minutes? Do you have to run?
I have 23% of battery, so until that hits 0, I'm all yours.
All right, we'll move kind of quickly here. A couple of good questions getting towards the end, but we have a lot of commentary, which is awesome. So thank you guys as you're putting this in there.
I want to hear. Now, question. This size is insane, but like, can I hear from them? Like, are they able to talk?
I'm going to make sure everyone's able to talk. And Lee, as I do this, can we talk about what we were planning earlier, what you wanted our guests to do?
Yes. You want to do that now?
Yeah.
So I think we should.
I just gave everyone the ability to unmute themselves.
All right. So everybody, what I need before we get all crazy with questions and everything, okay, this is a very, very, very special day for somebody in the room. Okay. And in our best Zoom voices possible.
Bring it.
Okay. I want not only a happy birthday song, but if we could do the Stevie Wonder happy birthday version. Brad, do you have a track in the back that we might be able to run with here?
Can't help you there, Bal.
I think
Brad. My other Brad.
Oh, gotcha.
Can you hear that?
Audio coming through?
A little bit. It's not so much.
Magical.
So everybody, we'll start it off, okay? Are you guys on? Did you guys unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna try this.
Yep.
Voices, let's go.
Let's go. Ready? Happy birthday to
Hey
you.
to ya.
Happy
Happy birthday to ya.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Birthday to ya.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Linda, yeah.
Great
Keith
guy.
Michael?
All right. All right. Let's do traditional. Ready? Happy birthday.
Birthday to you.
All these different internet
Happy
speeds.
birthday
To you.
So can you sing happy birthday?
Birthday, Brad
Brad
Lambert.
Lambert.
I like the side notes. Happy birthday.
All right.
you.
Happy
Train wreck
birthday
of
to
joy.
Well done. Well done. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate that.
Happy birthday.
Fantastic,
So everyone
guys.
is unmuted,
Okay.
and Lee, if you could, go to whoever has some questions for Brad. He'd love to hear from you. We have about 21% left in Brad's battery.
Basically, yeah. Literally.
All right, guys. If you could, let's see. Can we get like hand raises or something, and then unmute yourself.
I saw
Noah,
Noah.
go.
Okay, so what quality? I don't know if you like worked with other directors before, but what qualities do you look for when you're like trying to work with one? I hope I worded that right.
No, it's good. I kind of answered this earlier. I mean, it's kind of a sliding scale for me, right? But I want to see that passion. That's my big thing. I want to see the passion out of who I'm working with. If they're just kind of floating around ideas, or you can tell like they're not that invested in what's happening, that's not someone I want to devote my time and effort to. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But if you are up at night, can't sleep, passionate about your project, that's someone I want to have a conversation with, right? So passion, professionalism, willing and able to do anything that's needed to get the project done, which means ego is nowhere to be found, right? I'm too good to do this. I don't want to hear that. Like, I'm not too good to do anything. If you need me to take out the trash, I'm taking out the trash. And that's literally the mindset that you have to have. The second you say I'm too big for this is the second you lose immediately. So from a director, talent, producer, whoever, I don't like, the ego can't be there. You got to be professional. You have to be empathetic and kind to others, inclusive. Like, I hope I'm answering your question.
No, yeah, you're doing great.
Next up, I've got. I'm just going down my list here. Alyssa, you have your hand raised. I like the politeness of everybody. This is
Yes, Alyssa.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here, first of all.
Oh, it's been a blast.
So kind
Thank
of
you.
So you're such an accomplished producer, and I'm just a high school senior right now.
Amazing.
Who I have a few ideas for like stories in mind, but I've never like written anything to like anything final. But I'd like to see them on screen at some point in my life. So how would I get to where I am, to where somewhere similar to where you are? And like, do you have another question I have is, do you have any like internships or anything that like you need help with that we could help get started?
Good questions. Thank you for that. First off, I would say, are you a good writer? And answer honestly.
I think I am. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So that's a good question, because like me, I'm very creative, but I can't write for crap. Okay. So I can come up with brilliant ideas and literally tell you the film that's in my head. But as far as being a talented writer on the page, forget it. I'm sure you guys have realized I can talk for days, and that's a talent of mine. Okay. But the other thing is acknowledging that I'm a bad writer. So I have to work with other writers to bring my idea to life. So for your idea, maybe that's what you have to do, is collaborate, right? We talked about this earlier, winning together. Find someone in this room who's a talented writer that loves your idea and then wants to be a part of it, and then wants to add whatever value they can to your project to hopefully bring it to life. But you have to be very mentally tough and know that it's probably not going to happen overnight. It might take years to get done. I've been working on a project for years that haven't hit the screen yet, and that's okay. But it's a kind of juggling plates, right? Which one needs to get the most attention at a given time? So for you, you need to start putting things down on paper. There are so many tools on Google that you can look up to help with script writing or general outlines, right? And then once you have that, you can move on to the next step, which is kind of creating a deck or a Bible for your idea, where you can have comp titles, which is comparable titles, that this story kind of resembles this, you know, and then people can kind of start to visualize with what you've outlined, as well as the visuals, how this show is going to happen, or this film. So once you start putting those pieces in play, you'll start, once again, it's little baby steps that lead to big results, right? So start doing that stuff, start networking and connecting with other creatives, start getting insight and analysis from other people other than yourself, and then build towards pitching and selling your project. But once again, you got to be fearless. You can't be afraid, and you can't have that paralysis by analysis, right? You can't overthink it. You just got to go do it, put it down, right? J.K. Rowling, do you think she was overthinking stuff when she wrote Harry Potter on a train? You know, come on.
That's awesome. Next up, and Brad probably has like 10% battery, so we gotta go quick with some of these guys.
We're at
But
18. I saw Ella, and
Oh,
she's
okay.
like in Alaska or something. So can we talk to her real quick before
yeah,
she
go for
freezes
it.
to death?
Go for it.
Hi, Brad. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Actually, I want to ask, do you have any book to recommend? Like that one, The Mark in Your Life?
Books that I love, I think that are very important. I would recommend Chris Voss's Never Split the Difference. And that's Chris Voss, Voss, Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as If Your Life Depended on It. And he's a good friend of mine. He was a former FBI hostage negotiator for like 20 years. His story is remarkable, and this book is on negotiating and how you can take his tactics that he used with the most vile, corrupt, awful people on the planet and use it in day-to-day conversations. So it's basically like mental chess, right? That's what negotiating is. And the tactics that you can use in a business setting, but also in a personal setting, right? So for example, I've changed so much about how I speak generally because I read the book. So if I were to say to Lee, hey, Lee, can you hang out tomorrow? That's a yes-oriented question. And a lot of people are not as willing to answer yes-oriented questions because they don't know what they're getting themselves into, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I say, hey, Lee, is tomorrow a bad day to hang out? That's a no-oriented question. And he'll be like, no, of course not. What's up? Right? And that was the same question, just asked differently.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets better
Yeah.
results. So that book will help you communicate with friends, coworkers, businesses, and it'll open your eyes to things that, wow, I never thought of saying it that way. And watch how that increases kind of how you communicate and things like that. There are other books like this one I got a little bit ago. It's called The Operator. Okay. And it's on David Geffen.
Okay.
That's somebody who was a tycoon in the music space back in the day, the guy before Scooter Braun, if you will. And it's very interesting. And he obviously managed music, but his approach where he went and dominated music, and then he went and dominated Broadway, and then he went and dominated film. It's just insane. I mean, he was a shark, as they called him. So there are a lot of really interesting books that you can read. It just depends on what kind of field you specifically want to get into.
Awesome.
Okay.
Really good.
Oh, and
Thank you.
Limitless by Jim Quick, Kwik.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And that helps with memory, retention, speed reading, things like that.
Could you repeat that book again, please?
Yes, sir. Jim Quick, Limitless. That's Jimkwik. And he is known as
Can you
the
write it?
brain expert.
Yeah, we can get that in the chat. Don't worry about it.
I'll put it in the chat.
Boom. There you go.
Awesome. And Spencer,
you,
I think
Brad.
you were next with your hand raised.
I think so. I thought Angel actually was before me. So if he actually wants to go first, that's totally fine too. Because I think he had it raised before me.
Loving the kindness in this chat. Way to go.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to go, Matt? I mean, I can
No,
wait.
it's totally fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, hi, my name's Angel. Happy birthday.
Thanks, man.
It's something. I also have something similar to what Alyssa said. During my spare time, I've been writing up concepts. Like, would you say it's a good idea to hold on to these concepts for like later on?
Of course. If it's something that makes you happy and something you're passionate about, of course. Like for example, I'm the show I'm producing right now, the TV show I'm producing, I have never done an unscripted series before. But this is something I'm learning on the fly and figuring out. So
Yeah, because like I would like to be a producer and be like a writer for the movies, you know? Like I
love
want
that.
to try to like create the image of it, you know?
Yeah. No, look, you're not going to get a job if you're not doing the work, right? So as a
Yeah,
writer or as a producer, you have to have a portfolio, right? Or a list of a bunch of scripts that you could send out to agents and be like, here's my work. What do you think? And if you
I see
don't have stuff to send, you're not going to get an agent and you're not going to get work, right?
Okay.
So by all means, man, if you have ideas that you're happy and excited about, dive in. But I promise you, you're going to have a million more ideas after this group. That's just how it is.
Okay. Anyone else like to go next?
Good question.
Spencer, I think that's you.
Yep. Team Cap.
Yeah. Sure. So first off, happy birthday, of course.
Thanks,
I
brother.
actually met, I don't know how close you and Boss are. I met him at Ace Comic Con a couple of years ago.
Nice.
I have one of his pieces. But yeah, my question for you is when you're connecting with younger students or audiences or anything like that, do you ever find it challenging to connect with them just because some of them are like fans, some of them are like just people that really admire your work. So it's kind of hard. I think personally, I work in sales and stuff, and there's some people that are genuinely interested in what I'm working on, and other people who are just like, yeah, I'll help you out, but just because I can. I guess for you, because of the position you're in, do you ever find it challenging to connect with people like students, say, on this call?
No.
Really?
No. I want to add value and I want to help as many people as I can. I don't make false promises. I'm straight up about it. You know, I try to answer as many DMs and messages and emails that I get. But once again, why would I take the approach of you're not worth my time? Right?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So like, but that's the ego thing we talked about, right? I'm
Yeah.
so important. I'm so much bigger than you that I don't have time to talk to meaningless high school and college kids. Like it's silly. So for me, I want to connect with as many people because you know what, Spencer, I might be coming to you for a job in 10 years. Who knows? Right? I'm
Right.
serious. Like we don't know what happens, but that's why you have to treat everybody with respect and kindness.
Yeah, exactly.
So like,
Yeah.
dude, like there are 6-year-olds on YouTube making billions of dollars reviewing twos. You know, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, man.
That's awesome. I think it's Colby. You're up next.
Oh wow, that was fast. So I have been started like really liking cinematography and all of that.
Amazing.
What do you recommend, like kind of going in that path, and how I could get started in doing that, or what things could I look up and like sources could I watch or?
Sure. I mean, this is gonna sound really basic, but Google. Honestly,
Okay.
like I would Google books. I would Google tutorials. There's so much good stuff on YouTube that you can literally sit down and watch people explaining different camera techniques and different cameras and equipment. I mean, there are so many tools out there for you to educate yourself. And that is what's going to set you apart, Colby, is your understanding and knowledge on these topics, right?
Okay.
So, because if someone comes at you at the job and says, hey, Colby, do you know how to do this?
Yeah.
You got to know how to do it, right? Or you're going to miss the opportunity.
Okay, good to know. And
so like take it upon yourself to just play with the equipment if you have it, try to get opportunities to learn and kind of create your own path and don't wait for anybody else, you know, be a
Okay.
self-starter.
And I am profoundly deaf, so I have cochlear implants. So I
Sure.
don't, because I do know that there are the headsets and stuff you have to wear sometimes. So I just didn't know if that there most likely are going to be advancements in technology.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, do you think, I don't want, like, that's not going to stop me, but I was just wondering, like,
It only stops you if you let it stop you,
yeah,
Colby.
that's true. Okay.
Period.
Very
Thank
true.
you.
Good luck.
And
Brad,
had
how
a-
you doing on battery?
I'm at 11%. I'm keeping a watchful eye, so let's crank these out. I want everybody to have a shot.
Great.
all right, Sophie, you are up next with a nice Jerry photo.
Hello.
Sophie's
Can you guys
sleeping.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Hi.
great. Awesome. Hi. So first question, quickly, you say that confidence is important, but not being overly confident or egotistical, which I completely agree with. But
Yep.
as a teenager, I'm certain that I'm not the only one who finds a little bit difficult to find that confidence.
Sure.
What do you think are some ways that you can build confidence both as a creator and as a person who just needs to talk to more people?
You have to put yourself in situations where you can gain that confidence. And that's by trying new things, failing at new things and picking yourself back up and trying again, putting yourself on a stage and talking to more people. You know, you might be scared to talk to people, but that's because you're not putting yourself in a situation to talk to people, right? And it's being outgoing and forcing yourself into uncomfortable situations to where they're not uncomfortable anymore, you know? And it's all experience. You gain confidence by experience, good or bad, right? So, like Sophie, get out there, try new things. Don't be afraid to fail. And you're not a failure if you fail. You learn from those failures, and that only makes you better. So why wouldn't you want to continue to fail? Because that makes you even more knowledgeable on these topics, you know?
Right.
So
Awesome.
good.
And then one more thing, you said when you were about 16, 17, you know, made the calls to work with people that you wanted to work with, those athletes and stuff like that.
Yep.
How did you find those connections? And how did you find those people to call? Like, did you have like, you
Yeah.
know, a back alley kind of person, or
No,
like, what was
no.
the?
Back in the day, we used things like phone books to talk to people. So
I see.
that's literally how I got in touch with a few people back in the day, back with my buddies Fred and Barney. So that's how we did things back then. But now, guys, you got social media, you got LinkedIn, you got YouTube, you got TikTok, you got Instagram, you got Twitter. You have all these opportunities to DM people. And once again, you may DM the same person 100 times, but that 101st time that you DM them, they actually see it and they answer you, right?
Right.
So it's just taking the initiative to send out these messages, to email these people. And when you don't get a response right away or even a week later, not throwing a fit and being angry about it. It's understanding that, like, the levels out here, the people get hundreds, if not thousands, of texts and emails a day. Like, you have, like, it is insane.
Right.
Like, it's having that patience and understanding, keyword understanding, and moving forward accordingly.
Right. Thank you.
Love that.
And happy
Of course.
birthday.
Thank you.
And Sophie, you know what? Thank you for that question, because that was like a very like awesome, vulnerable question, and it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
It was
hey,
really
Sophie, go get it, girl. Go get it.
awesome.
Thank you.
Christopher, I think you might be our wrap-up question.
I want
And hold on. Carlos has one too. I saw his hand.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to ask you, what is the best way to pitch a project?
Pitch your project. Well, first off, like I mentioned earlier to Alyssa, you have to have all these things ready to go. And then once your pitch deck, your Bible, your script, everything's in place, then you can start reaching out to production companies, production executives, and trying your shot. Like, somebody has to open the door for you to come in, right? So you just have to knock on as many doors as you can until someone listens to you. And then that person might not be interested, but they may be like, Carlos, you know what? I have somebody that I can connect you to. And then you go talk to them.
Yes, because like what I'm doing right now, I'm doing a short film based on a script I'm doing.
I love that.
So I'm doing everything I could do to sell.
Good.
So
But once again, don't get too far ahead of yourself. Make sure your project is bulletproof. Okay. Make
Okay.
sure it's bulletproof and you can answer any question about it, and then start reaching out to people and being like, hey, I need help. Right? I can't do this alone. And that's the confidence thing. I understand I can't do everything. So I got to go find somebody else to help me, right? I'm doing that right now. I got connected to another producer for the show I'm working on, and he's the one that opened a door for me for some networks and streaming platforms. And guess what? If the show sells, when the show sells, we're going to win together.
okay, perfect. Thank
That's
you.
awesome. So epic. Christopher.
Christopher.
Hi. First off, I want to thank Lee Hughes for inviting me. Wonderful opportunity. Second,
Great.
happy birthday.
Thanks for coming, man. No, thank you.
And my question is, what is something that makes somebody stand out when it comes to looking for new talent?
Persistency, passion, professionalism. Once again, there's a difference between being persistent and annoying. Okay. And that's understanding. So like I had a call with someone today and I was like, look, I understand you are insanely busy, but if we can do XYZ, let's do it. Or if you have time next week to chat, let's do it. So it's being persistent, you know. Spencer, I chased Boss for 6 to 8 months before he finally responded. And I helped make him a lot of money when he finally did. Right. So it's that persistency. I saw an opportunity. I saw how to help him and I didn't quit. Right. So that's that persistency. Right. Like, here's the value that I offer. Here's how I see my puzzle piece fitting with yours. And this is how I see us winning together. Right. Gary always talks about selling to someone you know will say yes. Right. Not asking every single person you know, but identifying a group of people that you think would say yes to what you're selling. So if you identify with someone because of your beliefs, your passions, the work you do, go talk to that person because your synergy will make it work.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Spencer, you got another one?
Spencer, really quick.
Yes.
I'm on 6%, guys. It's getting serious.
Really quick.
Closing seconds. We got to find out who won that Penguins game.
I know. I'm
Oh,
kinda
really
scared.
quick, as in me go really quick. Okay, I thought you were going to add something.
No.
No. So for us actors on the call here, people who are starting off with acting, I didn't get to start until my senior year because that's when I found my passion for it.
Totally fine.
Yeah. What ways do you think that like starting actors can build value on people like you who are looking for like different actors and people to add to films, to movies, whatever? Really just like what ways can we work on ourselves to build value for other people to help them?
I cannot stress this enough. Get on TikTok. And if you want to be taken seriously, start doing shorts. Start reenacting scenes. Show your acting chops by doing a scene that Leonardo DiCaprio did, right? Look at me doing this. I mean, I have a buddy I found on TikTok. I found this kid. He had like 200,000 followers and he's a voice actor. Like he wants to do that with his life. So he's on there basically doing anime characters, like doing Dragon Ball Z scenes. And it's incredible. And now his platform, his brand has 300,000 followers.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So once again, paralysis by analysis, stop thinking about it and just do it.
Okay.
You know, start doing scenes with your friends, start shooting stuff on your cell phone. It doesn't have to be a red camera, you know, get that practice in, you know, these conversations that I do make me a better speaker, right?
Right.
It's the same thing.
Right.
You just got to get out there and do it.
Yeah, I do stuff similar to this for work. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. I don't know how busy you are, but I'd love to talk to you at some point about this stuff. I do a lot of talks and motivational speeches for my work itself.
You're
I
a
just
very
got
good
promoted
speaker.
a couple days ago. Thank you.
Congratulations. Hey, Lee,
yeah.
could you drop my Instagram handle for everybody so everybody can
I got
hit me up and
it. I'll put it in there right now. It's just
Thank you. Yeah,
Perfect.
thank you. Please DM me, hit me up. We can keep in touch. I want to see what you guys are working on.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll leave it open in case if anybody else wants to say something. I think Colby has another question, but yeah, thank you.
Hold on. Noah, what's up?
Okay, last one. Any tips on how to get recognized in the industry? Like anything?
Bro, I had one video I posted on TikTok. One video on TikTok like 2 weeks ago. And I'm on TikTok. I'm not doing the dances. Don't worry about it. You're not going to see me doing the WAP. All right.
I bet you'd be good. Come on now.
Hey, maybe so. But my whole thing is I posted a TikTok talking about the season finale of Mandalorian, and that video had almost 500,000 views. That one video had 500,000 views. Wow. So you tell me how you get noticed. Pushing out content, man.
Yep.
You just got to push out content. You got to create a brand for yourself, because when it comes down to it, if it's between you and somebody else for a job, they're going to look at how many followers you have. Because if one has 10,000 followers and the other has 0, if you guys are similar in talent, the other person's getting it because they have 10,000 followers, period. Because that's more value to the company, to the brand, to the studio. Yeah. Colby, so real quick, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm at 3%. Things are looking dire, guys.
What do you recommend the best way to start public speaking so that way you get more comfortable speaking fluent, like more fluently knowing this how to pace and not rushing your speech?
Practice. You know, I remember I was in college and I took a public speaking class, and my teacher went nuts because I would, like a lion, walk as I was talking. And he's like, bro, you need to chill out, you know? But guess what? When I spoke at NC State, when I spoke in Sao Paulo, I did my thing. You got to be true to yourself, and you have to get out there and just put yourself in situations to practice, like this, like you talking to me right now. If you have the opportunity to text someone or call them, call them. If you have the opportunity to email someone or have a Zoom call with them, have a Zoom call with them. You know, the easier approach isn't always the better approach.
Okay. Because because of my mom's job, I have with my sister. We have spoken in front of college students. So
that's good. You just gotta get out there and keep doing it. Okay.
And just keep practicing.
Keep practicing. That's it. Talking on the phone, talking on Zoom calls, talking in class. Don't shy away from it.
What about filming yourself and just practicing that way?
Of course, yeah. Do monologues, you know?
Okay.
Nothing is stupid. Nothing is silly. You're trying to better yourself. There's no bad way to do that.
100%.
Thank you, Colby.
Yeah, thank you, Colby.
Hold on. Is it Naim? Name? My man, I got to hear from you. Come on, talk to me.
Hold on. I need to unmute him. Give it a shot now. Try unmuting yourself. Naim.
There you go.
There we go. I'm in. All right.
What's up with you, man? I'm dying here, but I'm trying to get you in real quick.
Okay, yeah. So I'll make it quick then. Okay, so I just wanted to ask a question about what was your first like major project that like got you going, and then after that, how did you like stay consistent? How did you stay consistent to stay on that level? Because you know once you get to a certain level, you don't want to go back down. So how did you stay consistent at that level like that?
Well, it goes back to some of the stories I've told about, you know, Jamie and David Archuleta, William Michael Jordan, and not being satisfied with that, right? It's that not being satisfied with the stuff you accomplish, because once you get complacent, you lose, right? So it's what's next? What can I do next? What's bigger and better? What's next? But not from like a materialistic, I'm never happy standpoint, but like, I'm hungry, man. I am hungry. I want to keep going. I want to keep winning. I want to keep impacting lives. Right? I hope that answers your question, because I'm honestly about to die right now. Not literally.
Awesome.
About to die.
Everyone, let's give Brad Lambert a huge round of applause.
I appreciate you guys. Hey, real quick, hit me up on Instagram. It'll be in the chat. If not, they can send out an email. Brad R. Lambert on IG. I want to hear from all of you. Keep in touch. Keep me in the loop with what you got going on. But it's literally going to die any second. So,
Brad, we're so grateful for you to be able to spend time with the students and be able to share your words. Like,
this was a blast.
awesome.
Thank you so much.
And
Yeah.
quick round of applause to Lee Hughes, who put this together. Who was
Lee.
Good job, Lee.
It's for you guys. Just want to like
Thank
bring
you,
in some fun
guys.
for you guys. That's awesome.
Hey, and hey, I'm happy to come back anytime. So you let me know.